Welcome back to our channel where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. Today we bring you some news. Queen Elizabeth's final statement for Harry and Meghan will shock everyone. A report indicates that Prince Harry expressed his desire to return to the UK and criticized King Charles for not communicating with him during an interview. An intimate source said that King Charles made a daring decision that astonished Prince Harry by appointing Prince William to a new role that Prince Harry would never attain. This decision was a decisive response from King Charles to Harry and Meghan. This action is in accordance with the late Queen's wishes about Meghan and Harry as stated by the source. This revelation was confirmed by a Leprier, who saw the late Queen's genuine sentiments towards Harry and Meghan at the royal ceremony. This video will explore the true statements made by the late Queen to Meghan and Harry to comprehend the rationale for King Charles's actions. Final betrayal or last blessing, the Queen's secret message to Harry and Meghan unveiled. Did Queen Elizabeth Roman II convey a concealed message to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle during her dying days? Royal speculation indicates that she may have. A professional Leprier claims they have deciphered the late monarch's last private remarks on the errant Duke and Duchess, conveying themes of duty, disappointment, and fate. This revelation arises concurrently with Prince Harry's requests to return to the UK and King Charles's audacious decision to promote Prince William to a position that his younger brother would never occupy. It is a narrative infused with intrigue, treachery, regal customs, and intense passion, like a palace documentary. What were the Queen's actual words? Did Her Majesty anticipate the tempest that now envelops her family? Let us explore the compelling tale transpiring inside the House of Windsor, where each murmur may conceal a secret, and every royal choice may reflect the Queen's ultimate goal. A surprising Leprier disclosure, the Queen's final utterance. The late Queen of Britain seemed introspective at a 2020 ceremony. Was there a concealed message behind her guarded smile? During one of Queen Elizabeth Roman II's last public appearances, the cameras captured a significant moment. The 94-year-old Queen leaning forward at a royal ceremony, her gaze distant, softly whispering a few words. No audio was captured, although a Leprier in the audience asserts that the statements were directed at her arranged grandson and his spouse. An unnamed expert reports that the Queen subtly said, "They've made their bed," a succinct, enigmatic comment rich with significance. If accurate, the 5 muttered words convey significant meaning. They have created their circumstances, and the implicit conclusion that they must now endure the consequences lingers in the atmosphere. At that moment, the typically impassive monarch may have shown her genuine feelings for Harry and Meghan. Was it grief, resolve, treacherous conduct? Royal pundits may just conjecture. Some contend that the Queen, a grandmother caught between affection and obligation, was conveying sorrow and acceptance over the Sussexes' decision to depart from royal life. Others saw it as a definitive and elegant dismissal, an indication that the monarchy would continue without the couple as she had always envisioned. The backdrop makes this discovery more intriguing. This incident allegedly took place during the Commonwealth Day service in March 2020, which was Harry and Meghan's final engagement as working royals amid heightened tensions. The Queen was there at Westminster Abbey confronting the repercussions of Megxit. Did Her Majesty convey a farewell message to the congregation? Given that Buckingham Palace has not responded to the lip-reader's assertion, and likely won't do so, it is unlikely that we will ever discover the truth. The mere prospect has royal observers in a state of excitement. It depicts an old queen who, in her latter years, upheld tradition, resolute but melancholic, placing the crown above family affection. Documentary flashback. The grainy film portrays the Queen dressed in powder blue as she grasps her program. She discreetly shifts her attention to Prince Charles next to her. Her lips articulate, "They've made their bed." The narrative would declare in that ephemeral whisper, did the Queen determine Harry and Meghan's destiny? The enigma persists, prompting both grief and conjecture. Prince Harry's appeal states, "I desire to return home." They were a regal couple during happier times. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex previously represented contemporary royal aspirations. Now they reside across the ocean. The late Queen's purported message implies closure. But Prince Harry's recent statements convey a narrative of remorse and longing. In a recent interview, the Duke of Sussex candidly expressed his desire to reconcile with his family and suggested the possibility of returning to the UK. "I desire reconciliation with my family," Harry said, embodying the essence of the prodigal son. He articulated that life is precious and expressed his longing for some elements of home. Following years of strife, confessional memoirs, and transatlantic separation, the prince's tone was both heartbreaking and real. Simultaneously, Harry disclosed the extent of the royal schism. He reproached his father, King Charles, for maintaining a frigid silence. "He refuses to communicate with me due to this security issue," Harry said resentfully, alluding to a protracted disagreement with his UK law enforcement protection. Since Harry and Meghan's stunning departure in 2020, interactions with the palace have mostly occurred via legal representatives and media headlines. According to Harry, despite his attempts at reconciliation, the king has maintained a distance reminiscent of a Shakespearean narrative where a parent remains silent towards his wayward son. These disclosures portray Harry in a sympathetic manner, a prince who exchanged royal obligations for love and autonomy, only to discover a longing for the family and nation he abandoned. He expressed concerns about feeling insecure in Britain owing to security measures and lamented that time with his elderly father is diminishing. The scene is emotionally charged. The hitherto spare prince now feels rejected and alone, publicly expressing, "I am uncertain how much longer my father has. It would be beneficial to reconcile." However, given the overarching framework of the monarchy, personal appeals do not readily dissolve entrenched protocols established over generations. Harry's statements, prominently featured in headlines, surely came to King Charles's attention. Yet the monarch's reaction was rather unsentimental. Indeed, it seems the Crown was formulating a reaction of a markedly different kind for Harry, one that conveys more than any news release could. King Charles responds assertively, promoting William in a daring royal maneuver. In a recent ceremony, a sovereign bestowed an accolade upon his successor, symbolizing a significant transfer of authority. Should Prince Harry have anticipated that his public gesture of reconciliation would elicit warmth from Buckingham Palace, he was met with a stark realization of royal indifference. King Charles Roman III's response to his son's overture was not a phone call, nor a meeting, but rather a significant display of power. He conferred onto Prince William a position that Harry would never attain. During a solemn ceremony at the Army Aviation Center in Hampshire, the king ceremoniously appointed William as Colonel Chief of the Army Air Corps, presenting him with a traditional light blue beret passed from father to son. The post is not only a military award, it is a role intimately connected to Harry's own military history. Harry qualified as a helicopter pilot in the Army Air Corps and served honorably in Afghanistan. In granting William this colonel, Charles deliberately overlooked the regiment that was once Harry's pride and love. Courtiers and pundits promptly interpreted the signs. "This decision is contentious," said one article. Given Harry's military record, many saw the position of Colonel and Chief of the Army Air Corps as intended for him. Numerous observers saw Charles's choice as an unequivocal indication. Harry's narrative has concluded, and William unequivocally has the future. The timing was unequivocal as well. Harry announced the position during his brief visit to London, but the father and son did not meet. Conversely, Charles and William exhibited broad grins at the military transfer, with photographers capturing the moment to emphasize the occasion. The Royal Theatre was exemplified in its grandeur and chill. The king and his successor engaged in spectacle, while the spare observed from the periphery excluded. Royal analysts deemed it a harsh rebuff, as the palace effectively closed the door that Harry was trying to enter. Was King Charles using this method to convey to Harry that he has already had his opportunity? The audacity of the action undoubtedly indicates a strong royal influence. Since the Queen revoked Harry's honorary military titles in 2020, there has not been a more explicit public reminder of his outsider status. In quintessential Windsorian style, it was executed without any direct communication to Harry. The Crown conveys its messages via honours and traditions rather than by irate correspondence. This action matches smoothly with Queen Elizabeth's long-term strategy for the monarchy. The late Queen excelled at nuanced communication. During her Platinum Jubilee balcony appearance in 2022, the Queen deliberately surrounded herself only with the immediate heirs and working royals, excluding Harry and Meghan from the assembly. The scene depicted tradition, the Queen accompanied by Charles and William, together with little Prince George representing the straight line of succession, while the Duke and Duchess of Sussex observed from the periphery. Charles's recent promotion of William seems to be a continuation of that initiative, a realization of the strategy to maintain a streamlined monarchy concentrated and firmly under the control of those devoted to the firm. The Queen's perspective, tradition supersedes sentiment. Was all of this predetermined, or rather outlined in the Queen's strategy from the outset? A multitude of royal insiders share this opinion. Queen Elizabeth II's primary goal for the monarchy centered on the preservation of the institution. She upheld the principles of responsibility, continuity, and an efficient royal family committed to service. Recently, her leadership has manifested in what King Charles, mirroring his mother, refers to as a streamlined monarchy. The central concept is a reduction in the number of working royals, along with a greater emphasis on direct heirs to ensure the Crown's continuity in contemporary society. The Queen exemplified the behavior personally. During the Platinum Jubilee festivities, Her Majesty notably stood on the balcony of Buckingham Palace with just her closest heirs, Charles, William, and their families, symbolizing unity and power at the apex of the monarchy. Those who had departed or faltered in disgrace were absent. That moment sent a more profound message than any news release. The same message that the lip reader now claims to have read on the Queen's lips was conveyed: we will continue regardless of who leaves. The purported last communication to Harry and Meghan aligned seamlessly with this ideology. "They've made their bed" was not spoken with malevolence. Individuals familiar with Elizabeth II say she was incapable of vindictive outbursts, rather one could interpret it as a demonstration of determination. She harbored fondness for Harry, her lively, mischievous grandchild, and first embraced Meghan with warmth. However, when the couple prioritized personal liberty above royal obligation, the Queen responded as expected. She compartmentalized, maintained composure, and persevered. Her obligation was to the Crown and nation above anything else. Privately, she probably mourned the familial disintegration. In public, she facilitated the monarchy's advancement. The Queen's genuine emotions were likely complex. A hasty departure may have abruptly undermined decades of meticulously mentoring Harry, leaving her with a sense of betrayal. She may have been concerned about the couple's well-being and security while overseas. She may have nurtured aspirations for reconciliation, subtly maintaining the possibility of their return under the Crown's conditions. However, one fact is unequivocal: she always upheld the line of succession and the hierarchy of the royal family. Elizabeth II was both a devoted grandma and the monarch. Such conflicting responsibilities often marked her prolonged existence. Ultimately, the monarch prevailed. Insiders remember that the Queen preserved a dignified quiet throughout Harry and Meghan's controversial interviews and media appearances, save for one subtly pointed remark. Recollections may vary. She said after their opera interview, a courteous royal admonition cloaked in innocuous language. It was her method of expressing skepticism and discontent without uttering a word of malice. The lip reader's assertion offers more information about her mentality, personal disillusionment. Resolutely constrained by royal obligation, King Charles is currently actualizing his mother's goal. By maintaining Prince William's preeminence, whether by titles, responsibilities, or public engagements, Charles is reinforcing the future envisioned by Queen Elizabeth. The new king's deeds indicate that William is my successor in every regard. The trajectory of the crown is established. Notably, the current approach does not include any role for Harry. The narrative includes themes of intrigue, treachery, and emotional reverberations encapsulated in a saga about a royal family. The story's theatrical elements may lead one to think it's a Netflix docudrama, which Harry and Meghan have also produced. The tale includes the enigmatic last utterances of an old monarch, Prince feeling betrayed, a father king executing calculated maneuvers to reinforce the dynasty, and a once united family now fractured by emotional wounds and distrust. It is a narrative as ancient as Shakespeare, unfolding in real time under the relentless scrutiny of the media. Betrayal is reciprocal. Harry and Meghan saw a sense of betrayal due to what they characterized as insufficient support and even brutality from the firm. Conversely, the royals see them as having betrayed the family by disclosing private matters and relinquishing their responsibilities. The Queen grappled with the challenge of upholding familial unity while simultaneously safeguarding the monarchy's reputation. The lip reader's disclosure adds a disking dimension to this tragedy. If accurate, it implies that the Queen implicitly recognized the Sussexes' betrayal of familial obligations, indicating that they would have to face the consequences. However, among the suspense, there are very heartbreaking moments. Envision Harry perusing the headlines about his grandmother's purported farewell message. How would it feel to contemplate that they may be her ultimate reflections on him? Harry's acquaintances assert that he loved his grandmother, and despite the circumstances was very saddened by his inability to reach Balmoral before her death. For Meghan, who spent just a brief period under the Queen's guidance, the notion that the grandmother may have disapproved of her is likely painful. The pair has repeatedly expressed fondness for the Queen, asserting that she was always cordial to them. The idea that she harbored disappointment or pain suddenly disclosed posthumously would be an emotional shock. Conversely, King Charles and Prince William allegedly feel betrayed by Harry's public revelations and apparent treachery. They have united with William, particularly described by friends as being seething with rage after Harry's expose in his book and interviews. The Queen's position offers moral support. Grandmother was always right. It appears that her implicit endorsement depends on Charles's austere demeanor. The recent royal actions, Charles praising William but excluding Harry, are not only procedural, but reflect a personal belief that they are acting in accordance with the Queen's wishes. The heritage of a murmur unresolved inquiries. This royal drama presents lingering inquiries suitable for a documentary's concluding narration. Was Queen Elizabeth Roman II's quietly articulated remark indeed a farewell jab at Harry and Meghan? Could it have been merely a sentimental statement from a grandmother who made a sincere effort? We may never ascertain with certainty. The only witnesses were impassive courtiers and mute photographers, and they remain reticent. The palace, consistent with its approach, rejects speculation. The lip reader's report remains unsubstantiated. Yet it has undoubtedly captivated the public's interest over the Windsor conflicts. The Queen's principles of responsibility and devotion are clearly reflected in the deeds of King Charles and Prince William. The new reign is reinforcing William's position while excluding Harry, so establishing a boundary that harkens back to Elizabeth's steadfast principles. The late Queen's initial vision for the monarchy, unity, continuity, and an emphasis on those destined to inherit the crown is being maintained with remarkable diligence. Her soul seems to guide the family from beyond, maintaining the ship of state on its route through turbulent waters. The future for Harry and Meghan in this narrative remains unclear. Harry's public gestures of reconciliation have so far encountered a barrier of royal silence and definitive actions that underscore his exile. Will the Duke and Duchess of Sussex reintegrate into the family, or has the relationship irreparably deteriorated? If the Queen's last message is indicative, the responsibility may rest upon them to reconcile with the life they have chosen, to accept the consequences of their choices, unless they are prepared to assume the task they previously renounced. As this chapter of royal history concludes, one can almost see that regal voice resonating from a faraway balcony: "Never complain, never explain." The Queen's maxim continues to prevail. She never articulated her sentiments on Harry and Meghan. Maybe she never voiced any grievances, but in a single whispered statement she may have conveyed everything. Did the Queen anticipate everything? Was it her ultimate goal to guide Charles and William to this moment? Ultimately, the veracity of that muted royal whisper stays confined inside the Queen's heart, now taken with her to the grave. However, its presence casts a significant shadow over the living, a reminder that within the House of Windsor the past and present are inextricably linked, and every action is evaluated in light of the legacy of predecessors. The crown transitions among individuals, while the Queen's influence and maybe her guidance remains, imparting lessons of obligation, tradition, and the consequences faced by those who forsake the throne. Is reconciliation possible, or has the Queen already made her tacit judgment? The world observes and anticipates the next installment as the royal narrative progresses. Simultaneously, a documentary and a soap opera sustained by the persistent allure of a family that, despite its affluence, is not exempt from suffering. Only time will reveal if mending is imminent, or whether the Sussexes' royal narrative has definitively achieved its tragic and irreversible conclusion. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts, and goodbye for now.